Today we're reviewing order of operations. When I was in school, we learned order of operations. You remember we learned, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I'm sure you just learned PEMDAS. It doesn't matter which way you remember, as long as you remember it stands for the step. So this is another example of an algorithm. It's a set of rules that you use to solve a problem. So there's already an example done for you. If you remember when you're solving order of operations questions, each step is almost like an upside down triangle. Mine usually look more like a regular triangle. So it's like an upside down triangle because each step you are going to be canceling something out. So parentheses are first. There was one set of parentheses here. They did 9 minus 5 to get 4. And then exponents, there's one exponent. Remember, that is not 8. That doesn't mean 4 times 2. It means 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 is 16, and then they just copy down the rest. Then multiply and divide at the same time. The left to right is usually the only mistake I see people make in 7th grade because they forget that you do multiply and divide at the same time and add and subtract at the same time from left to right. So I do 16 divided by 2 is 8. The plus breaks it up, so we can also do this multiplication. 3 times 4 is 12. And then we add those together to get 20. So our first example here, if you need to, you can always keep referring back up here to PEMDAS. But we always look for parentheses first. There is a parentheses, so 4 minus 2, we'll get 2. And then I copy down the rest of the question, 3 squared plus 5. And now this is another thing that 7th graders forget sometimes. When you have a number right beside parentheses, that always means multiplication. So now we have 3 squared plus 5 times 2. Next step is exponents. We do have an exponent. 3 times 3 is 9. So 9, and then I just bring down the rest of it, plus 5 times 2. Now I look for multiplication and division. I do have some multiplication. So 5 times 2, I get 10. And then I bring down the rest of the question. And now I'll have one step, 9 plus 10 to get 19. So the example there, just ignore the 7. I decided that these examples were better than 1 through 6. So my final answer when that is simplified is 19. Now the next one, 3 plus 4 divided by 2. And I have two operations here. Division comes before multiplication. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. This one's too easy. So 3 plus 2 will end up with 5. And then the next one, 10 divided by 5 plus 3, even though it looks like multiplication because M comes before D for divide, remember we go left to right there. So we do the division first. 10 divided by 5 is 2 times 3. So I just brought down the times 3. So our final answer there will be 6. Now you have a pretty tricky question here. You're going to probably need to do some exploring with your group to solve this question, and then you can use the Edpuzzle video to check your work. So it says inserting parentheses. Insert parentheses in the expression. So here's our expression. 4 plus 2 to the third power minus 5 times 2 in 2 ways. So your goal is to get an answer that is 10 and an answer that is 14. So you're going to put in parentheses 2 different ways. Let me show you an example. This is not a correct way, but this is the first way that I tried. So I have 4 plus 2 to the third power minus 5 times 2. So I tested, what if I put parentheses right here to see if I could get either 10 or 14. So I know if I put parentheses there, parentheses are first. So I do 4 plus 2 to get 6 to the third power minus 5 times 2. So now I know I do exponents first. So 6 to the third power means 6 times 6 times 6. And 6 times 6 is 36, but I can't do 36 times 6 in my head. So I do 36 times 6 using the algorithm. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21. So there I'm already seeing it's probably going to be way too big if I get 216. So I have 216 minus 5 times 2. And then order of operations says I multiply next. So I have 216 minus 10. So 216 minus 10 is 206. So I know my method did not work when I put the parentheses around the 4 and the 2. Do not erase your work as you are testing these out, because that helps me to see your thought process. So try not to erase your work so that I can see where your trial and error is. Remember that you can put more than 2 terms in parentheses at a time. So you could have put the whole thing in parentheses, though that's not going to help you very much. Hint, hint. And give it your best shot. See if you can find where to put the parentheses to get a value of 10 and a value of 14.